Councilwoman Tennessee Easton behind me. Raise your hand, Tennessee Easton. If I don't speak right and I'm not timely, I'll get in trouble, so I don't want to get in trouble with her. So everyone is going to get a copy of the information that are being passed out as we speak. But I'm going to go ahead and open the program. If there are more seats, find her a seat. Brother Marshall, get up and give her a seat. He's giving his seat up right here. Come on over. So we are here gathered because, there's an opportunity for us to acquire the YWCA. Who knows what a YWCA is? It's on Main Street here in the city of Orange Township. When I came to office and when I came to the doors to many of you and I spoke to you, even as Tennessee Easton carried me around, the one thing that you asked me about was whether or not we could have our own recreation and senior center here in the city of Orange Township. We deserve it, we need it, and we certainly can use it. So we've been working diligently trying to acquire it, and we have come up with a plan whereby we can acquire it. It requires community support. That is why we ask all of you to come out. Jamie is passing around. Councilwoman Jamie Summers Johnson is passing around the information package. I told her to wear her track shoes. She wore heels anyhow. So this acquisition requires community support. It requires that all of us band together. Even after we acquire it, we're going to have to continue to be involved because it's going to involve programming. We have put together a presentation. Mr. Business Administrator. Our City Administrator, Willis Edwards, is going to present to us how we can acquire it, the money it's going to take, how we're going to use the money, and if there are any stumbling blocks, what they will be, and how we can overcome them. I must point out that Councilwoman Easton and Councilwoman April Gaunt Butler and Councilwoman Jamie Summers Johnson, I'm gratified that they called a council meeting to specially discuss this issue because we know how important it is to our community. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Willis Edwards, and he'll go over the details. Mr. Edwards, please get us right to the point of where we're supposed to be, and we're going to take questions from the audience. William will walk around with the microphone so that you can ask your questions if you have any. Everybody all right? You will be all right once you get your paper. It's coming to you, and I'm going to try to get those out as soon as possible. Without further ado, City Administrator Willis Edwards.
First of all, good evening, everyone. Tonight is an exciting night. I'm very excited. Thank you, Mayor, for the introduction and the opportunity to present what, in my view, and for many of us, the next biggest thing to happen to the city of Orange Township. In fact, I would be one to quickly say that this is probably the biggest thing to happen in the city of Orange in the last 30 or 40 years. In fact, it is the first Orange Recreation Senior Services Complex presented by the administration with the possibility of becoming a reality in the over 75-year history of the city of Orange Township. So, where we are now, how did we get there? Many of us are familiar with the YWCA, correct? Historically, there have been, at minimum, 4 Ys within the city of Orange Township throughout the city. Over the course of the last 30 or 50 years or so, those Ys have diminished. And as a result of those Ys diminishing, what we have found is that there has been a loss of service along with it. Initially, when this City Hall building was built, it was never built to handle the capacity which we've grown to today. The founders of the City of Orange Township never envisioned that we would have over 30,000 residents within a 2.2 square mile radius. With that being said, the YWCA in 2014 filed for bankruptcy. And as a result of them filing for bankruptcy, they closed their doors. the trustee that was appointed to oversee the disposition of all of their assets came to the city of Orange, came to the mayor, and says, Mayor, I believe in your administration. I believe in the efforts that you guys are moving towards. I have an excellent opportunity for you. I'm willing to offer you an opportunity to purchase the YWCA at a reduced rate. However, as the receiver appointed by the courts, I have a court-obligated responsibility. That court-obligated responsibility requires that I get the highest amount for the property available. However, I would be willing to speak out on your behalf to the judge and to argue to the judge to allow the property to be sold at a reduced rate, expressing to the judge that this would be an enormous community asset. Over the last couple of months, we went back and forth over figures and cost to lead us to this particular point. On Tuesday, earlier this week, the receiver was given the responsibility by the judge to come to a quick resolution. At that time, I contacted the council, indicated to the council members that we had to move post haste on this particular project. And in doing so, it required that we put together a presentation complete with all of the trappings. To the right, you'll hear the historical context as it relates to the Y. Many of you, some of you, children played in the Y. Learned how to swim in the Y. The Y has always been an intricate part in the development of the community in the city of Orange Township. The mayor recognizes this effort and realized that this would be necessary in order for us to continue to develop as a community and as a local gathering resource for all of those looking to do many of the programs that we're offering. In short, the offer for the Y is $1.5 million. Many of you are familiar with the purchase that we did with the lease agreement with the county, with the Orange Reservoir. We entered into an agreement a couple of years ago with the Orange Reservoir, where we have the senior picnic employee picnic. We leased that property to the county. It was a barren property, overgrown, and I think we can all attest that the property in Orange Reservoir right now is an exceptional new asset to the greater community. But those proceeds of approximately $1.6 million, we can use those proceeds to leverage that opportunity to acquire a much needed asset, the Orange Recreation Cultural Complex. And with that, I'm going to open up to the floor for you, the audience, to ask me questions.
What's it worth and what's the value that they'll sell it to us at?
So the appraised property value of the YWCA came in by an independent evaluator at $1,870,000. The city's own tax assessor did an evaluation. That assessment's evaluation came in at $2.2 million. The purchase price that we've been offered as an opportunity to acquire the property has been at $1.5 million. There are several other individuals who are interested in acquiring that property. If we do not move on this property, Mayor, it will be lost forever.
How do we pay for it? What are the structured payments?
The proposal at this particular time is twofold. So tonight, in explanation to the difference between a lease with the option to purchase, because there are requirements that go into acquiring the new property, such as making sure that there are no environmental impacts to the community, such as making sure that there's no foundation issues. Now, there's been certified by the seller's appraiser that none of these things exist, but it requires us as an administration, as a town, to do our proper due diligence. And in doing so, we're entering into a lease agreement with them with the option to purchase the property. So what it would do is it would take the property immediately off the rolls for sale, allow the city to negotiate with them over the next 6 months to come into an agreement to actually acquire the property and it to remain an asset to the community.
How much is the temporary leasing fee?
$100,000, which will go towards the actual acquisition of the property. So it's not $1.5 million for the building and an additional $100,000. That $100,000 would reduce the asking price of $1.5 million down to $1.4 million. Over here first.
You said structural damage, does that consist of the pool? Because you mentioned that there are issues with the swimming pool, that's why, one of the reasons why the Y closed. So is the pool still functional?
Okay. Now, in terms of the pool,
Repeat the question.
excuse me. One of the questions were, did the Y close in essence, or one of the reported reasons was why the Y closed was because of the pool. That's not true. The Y did not close because of the pool. The Y closed because there was rampant mismanagement, there was rampant misappropriations, and that's something that the court is currently handling with. But we're not talking about the Y. We're talking about a new Orange Recreational Complex Center for the city of Orange Township. Yes, in the back.
Where are we going to get the 100,000 from?
The $100,000, there's several ways to acquire $100,000 to make that purchase or that lease. The city currently, remember the deal that I spoke about with the Orange Reservoir? Okay, so that was a 20-year lease. The first 10 years was for $75,000 each year for a total payment of $750,000. The county gave the city of Orange $750,000. The state only allows us to draw down $75,000 per year. At present, we have drawn down, including this year, a total of $300,000, bringing us to a total of $400,000 remaining. In addition to that $400,000, the years 11 to 20, there are $850,000 due us from the county, which we have been in conversations with the county to use that, bringing the total to $1.2 million that we would have available towards the purchase. I want to also add that one of the fees in order for the receiver to accept our offers is to pay off the debt of the Y. The city actually has a lien against that property as well, where the YWCA owes us $65,000, which would go off of our bill of that money. So what we'll do is we'll take that $65,000. So in essence, that $75,000 that we get every year, we're proposing to the council is what we do is called the rider. It would sort of dedicate those funds specifically for the purpose of acquiring the building. Yes, ma'am.
How do you plan to maintain the building with the repairs and so?
Yes. In terms of the maintaining of the building, once Kamila is able to get the display up and running, I will show you, and if you look at the handouts that was passed out, in 2012, the Y went through some major renovations. And as you will see tonight, what the gymnasium looks like today. What many of the areas, when the YWCA closed, it closed, but it was a turnkey operation, meaning it's move-in ready, with the exception of the pool. Okay? So in terms of the maintenance, what's so wonderful about this opportunity is that we're not building a new facility and then coming to City Council asking for them to appropriate funding to staff the ongoing usage of the YWCA. We currently, as a city today, spend approximately $1.1 million in community service dollars, tax dollars, to operate the programs we already currently operate. Those staffers that are currently housed in the lower level, the basement of the City Hall, will be moved to that location. We currently have a public works area. If you notice on the handout, we talked about what are some of the incremental costs. Well, we know, based on some of the records that we've received from the YWCA,
that it's approximately $48,000 a year for the lighting for our PSE&G bill. We also know that the YWCA was paying roughly $36,000 for insurance. However, as a city, adding on, much like if you have your own car and you add in an additional car, it's not going to cost you the same amount of money to add on an additional car. The city currently has insurance to cover seniors and children and families. So the additional cost won't be $36,000 for the city. It will only be $3,000 for the entire year, which is approximately $8.65 a day. Yes, Ms. Arthur.
To implement these programs, I know you need a grant writer to get funds in to offset these programs, and that's my number one question. And number two, what role is the Board of Education going to play in this Orange Recreation Center?
Excellent. So I'm going to repeat the question from Ms. Arthur. Her question was, will the city look at acquiring a grant writer? One. Two, what role would the Board of Education play? Well, first, the grant writer is something that we've started looking at now. Internally, the mayor has sort of allowed there to be a restructuring within City Hall to where we've sort of reallocated staffing levels to sort of address many of the grant opportunities that were currently going unmet. So in previous years, what would happen was there were grants that we applied for, and these grants weren't followed through. So we get the money, we would get the award letter for the money, and then never go get the money. So when the Warren administration came in, the first thing the mayor asked me to do was a financial audit. At that point, we realized that we had roughly $2 to $4 million worth of missed opportunities in the city. We were the only city without a grants administration team until 2012. When the mayor came in, there was some restructuring, and we're still developing. So what we've done is we're exhausting our process of looking and finding out where all these grants exist. We've retained a firm. We're going to be going out for a new firm to encompass also writing. But there's a two-step process in the grant writing process. One, you make the application to acquire the grant, but then it's the compliance portion. So we need qualified individuals who will apply for grants, but we need to make sure that we have internal mechanisms that we ensure that this money is spent appropriately throughout the year and towards its designated intent. Secondly, what role will the Board of Education play? The Board of Education, the public library, and the citizens of the city of Orange, New Jersey, play an intricate role in the continuation and the success of this initiative. Why? We've always been a great partner of the Board of Education. We need to continue that effort. We need to embrace the Board of Education, allow the Board of Education to restart its swimming program. And for that, they're looking to invest in the Y. They're saying we want to be a hand-in-hand partner in this resurgence of what's happening in the city of Orange. So as it stands with the Board of Education, we're looking for them to be a continued partner in this process. We're looking for the library board to also be a partner, and we're looking for the residents to also be a partner.
So
Yeah.
then.
Yes,
Yes.
right here.
Okay.
Do the seniors have to pay to enter this program?
Excellent question. So, there will be, at present, we're looking at the structure of what this program would look like. Okay? And at present, the way we're sort of structuring it is saying that there would be basically 3 tiers to this program. The first tier would be what we like to call the Orange Plus Pass. If you're an Orange resident, an Orange senior, you would be entitled to certain things such as 10% discounts to certain opportunities that are being provided by the rec center. In addition to that, many of the programs that you currently are afforded will be available for you. If a senior wanted to rent the space for particular services, a resident wanted to provide to use it for maybe a repass or a wedding, they would be entitled as Orange residents to receive a discount. Now, is there another tier to that? Yes, there's another tier to that. The second tier would allow individuals who are Orange residents who would like to take advantage of new programs. Currently, we offer fee-for-services for programs. The baseball program, there's a small registration fee. The football program, there's a small registration fee. If we wanted to expand, just recently we announced that we have senior programs that are currently going on. Right now, there's no place for the seniors to go in our community. This would afford them at least a meeting place. It would afford them an opportunity to take them and avail themselves when there are free classes offered through the recreation department. It will provide them through their Orange Plus Pass. They can use that Plus Pass, go in to no charge, and take advantage of it. Now, much like with anything else, if you want to take advantage of the next level, you pay a small fee for that next level, but it's no different than the fee you currently pay. Okay, so the fee that you currently pay, you can look at those services that senior services currently provide you. So if you have the bowling and you want to go on the bowling trip, you know it's a fee associated with the bowling. That's no difference. But what it does entitle you to is access when all the free programs are offered and discounts on other services that are provided. Then there's that third pass. That third pass is for those individuals who want to come and utilize our services and pay a premium to help subsidize those expenses. So your friends want to come in, they want to join you, well, they're going to have to pay a little bit more in order to do that. But we didn't want to not provide an opportunity for them to take part in this great opportunity.
Yes.
Yes.
So then you said that you're using, spending 1.5 to operate the programs that we have now?
No, ma'am, I said we're spending 1.1 million. 1.5 million is the purchase price.
No. And then you said something about the programs that we operate now?
We
They
currently
will
spend
cost-
approximately
yes.
$1.1 million now.
Right now.
Right
So
now.
then, with acquiring the line as the rec center, would we realize a savings?
Ah, great. So with 1.1 million that we currently spend, here's how we're going to get some of those savings. Many of the services that we currently provide, we do so on a limited basis. So for many of you who have come to City Hall, you go down to the office and you can't come back. You know, we can't rent anything. We take advantage and we go other places. But those reduced fees or those additional services will go towards reducing that $1.1 million allocation that's coming currently out of our budget, which would result in a reduction in the amount of appropriations that we seek to go to council for, thereby becoming ultimately a reduction for the taxpayer going forward. Thank you. Yes?
What are your plans to open this swimming pool?
Okay. So there are a number of things with regards to the swimming pool.
What's the question?
The question was, what are the plans as it relates to addressing the issue around the disrepair in the swimming pool? The swimming pool is estimated that it's going to be somewhere between $150,000 to $200,000 to repair. Okay? That's what they say. I'm not sure if that's what the true cost is. That's why it requires us to do our proper due diligence, to have individuals go out there and assess it, to evaluate that. We have pool individuals we work through on our outside pool. We're going to send those individuals out. And our hope is that through our partnerships with entities such as the YWCA, because you got to understand something. Here, this is not just Orange doing the Orange Rec. This is about a partnership with all of our internal and external stakeholders. And we see the Y as an external stakeholder that offers programs that they can come back to the city and be a part. So we're going to look to propose to the administration is going to look to propose to the council a graduated increase, but a long-term lease for the YWCA to come in, thereby getting revenue from them to be able to operate their program so that we can use that money to fund any additional operational needs that we may arise. In addition to them, we've been in contact with Babyland Services. I know many of you are familiar with Babyland. They've sent a letter of interest into the city saying to the city, we are interested in running a daycare in there. The YWCA is certified to be able to have a daycare facility towards the back. That's additional revenue opportunity. Leasing it to individuals is one revenue opportunity. Adjusting fee schedules, another opportunity. Renting out the space for banquets or functions is another opportunity. If you can look to the display here to my left, Kamala, if you could just sort of, right here, I just want to kind of show you, because one of the questions that I heard was, in what condition is the Y? For many of you, you haven't been to the Y in a long period of time.
I have, my nephew got married, and I just don't want to go into that.
And it was a nice facility. There's a lot of things that's happened. So what you see here is the interior of the new, let's go to the next one, of the lower end. That's the interior of the kitchen, which the effort is to expand it, to provide more services so that we can do cooking classes. Folks can sign up for these great opportunities. Go forward. This is the gymnasium. There's been a lot of discussion about the gym is in such disrepair. This is the gym now. This will mean the difference between young people being out on the street and them being in a place that we can call a safe haven to reduce the recidivism that continues to occur in our communities of going back and forth through the penal system. This right here is a classroom structure to provide a place for folks. Our idea is to have computer classes, recreational classes that deal with arts and crafts, all available in one location. 28,000 square feet. The space is there. Okay, there's been, Councilwoman Easton said she's gotten questions with regards to the rec. All right? It's the Orange Rec Center. It's the acronyms for recreation, education, and culture. Okay? And affectionately we call it the Orange Rec. Yes, sir.
How much damage do we have to the swimming pool? You didn't show that to us here.
There is a sliding swimming pool. And let me just, so I can understand the question, is that,
I want to see the slide on the swimming pool.
yes, that's the gymnasium. There's the swimming pool here.
How much damage do we have to the swimming pool?
That's what the expectation is approximately from the estimates that we received from the appraisal, that it was going to be somewhere between $150,000 to $200,000. The Board of Education has a particular interest in, President of the Board, Pat Arthur, I don't know if folks knew who was asking me that question, and my apologies. The President of the Board, Pat Arthur, and I see the Vice President of the Board somewhere in here as well, Jeffrey Wingfield. But the President of the Board, Pat Arthur, made a great point to say that the Board of Education will be a major partner. So the Board of Education wants to restart its swimming programs. And in doing so, they want to invest in the swimming pool. They want to invest in opportunity, for one, to be able to offer swimming programs, and we have to think about that in context of them being able to use it, and also for the young people, and also for our wiser groups, to be able to provide them an opportunity as well.
My second question is as regards to the computer programming. What do you have for the senior? How much discount do you want to give to them?
Okay, in terms of the computer programming classes, it is our effort, as I indicated, to partner again with the YWCA, which the YWCA has a computer programming class. It is our help, our effort to negotiate with them to make sure that the rates that they offer our Orange residents is at a discounted cost to our Orange seniors and families and children versus other folks. Yes, Ms.
With the great expansion of the Y, is there any availability of property to expand the parking since Main Street doesn't provide?
Okay. Now, the question was, is there anything that we can do to expand the parking? Well, there is some parking currently available at the YWCA. That same parking has been available for the last 36 years. Our hope is that we can still utilize that, which I'm certain we will be able to do. But in addition to utilizing that particular parking space, there is other areas that we can look at. But right now, I want to stay focused on the acquisition of this property with the eye towards looking at what the expansion could be. And in that expansion, unfortunately, there's not too many places where you can go in terms of getting parking. So we do have on-street parking. In addition to that, we have ample parking currently. And it's just a matter of us restructuring how that parking is done. Yes, in the back here.
In your planning, what part did you plan for security over the building when it's open?
The security. As with all of our facilities, meaning the Orange Garage, Orange City Hall, and as I positively speak towards this optimistic approach of saying the new Orange Rec, we will utilize our Orange Police Department and other ancillary services to secure, to make sure our residents are safe in those individuals. So many of our police officers currently go through, for example, there's a rotation program that we have running, and our police officers go through our YWCA. So we have a security guard currently on duty, and they dub as our maintenance worker, and they keep the building safe and they keep their eyes. And what we do is we encourage our police officers to go through the building and do random checks and walk through the facility.
Will there be an annual fee for members? I mean, do you have, in other words, you come here to get a, not a job, but to join, is there going to be an annual fee that's going to vary? Are you going to do the premium and then the less premium?
I spoke about that a little bit, so I just kind of just go back with it. There's the basic service, which entitles Orange residents to usage of the facility and discounts towards some of those fees that may be offered, such as the rental fee. But there's roughly, out of the $1.1 million that is appropriated currently by council to service recreation, we're moving those and still providing those services, and you'll still have access to those. But for things that we are going to go a fee for service, because we have to maintain this building, such as the rental. So let's just say, and these are not real numbers, people, but let's say it costs $100 to rent the room. For an Orange resident, they can get that room less 10%. Okay? Okay. The question was, in terms of the Rosa Parks teachers utilizing the YWCA for parking, what will happen for some of the parking? Well, as you're aware, the Board of Education acquired a different portion, and now they provide parking at the Board of Education for those instructors at the school. And for those individuals who were there, they're no longer able to park there right now. So when we take possession of the property, we will receive the property empty and good repair to provide for us to have our advantage. Now, it's my hope that through our working with our recreation department, and I've been in constant communication with our Deputy Director of Community Services, Adrian Wooten. How many of you know Adrian Wooten? Okay, I see her somewhere around. Okay. She will be making sure that we have transportation to kind of get us back and forth from here. So the effort is to be able to provide that shuttle service to provide residents here to the Y. By doing so, it will reduce the number of parking. So if we can pick up at a building, if it's say 340 Thomas Boulevard, or if we're at 300 Oakwood Avenue, we schedule it, instead of 5 to 6 people coming, we can pick them up. and bring them, and then take them back. Yes, ma'am.
I understand the kitchen, have they already repaired it?
That was one of the slides that was shown in terms of the kitchen. The kitchen has had some repairs done to the kitchen. The kitchen is operational, but it doesn't have the expanded services that would be needed to provide free cooking classes or a structured program for cooking. We would need to make that investment. And I think that's an investment we can make based on the interest that we receive from those individuals dedicated
I
to
was
sort
just
of working.
concerned about the stove in there, the facilities in there wasn't operating.
Yes, that's been
That's all
addressed.
taken
That's-
care
Yes,
of.
that's been taken out. That's been taken care of. That's one of the slides there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you would like, say, to have a party, a birthday party, anniversary party, wedding, is there any rules to what kind of liquor law would be applied here, or are you allowed to have that in there?
Okay. All right, so here's, as it relates to some of the nuances on what would be some of the available options for usage. Now, as we continue to go through this process, there may be some restrictions in terms of affording opportunities. Now, I know it might be hard to believe, but we can't be discriminatory in terms of, you might not have a wild and crazy party, but I can't exclude that individual who's 22. So it might be prudent for us to make a recommendation that there be no alcohol served at that facility. So I want to be upfront with you as well to let you know what the administration's intent is.
Would that be part of the law, or that would be a decision that you guys would make?
That would be something that we would pass going forward as a policy in place, no different than City Hall itself. Yes, the question, Mr. Dewan.
Mr. Edwards. Two-part question. One, are you saying that the YWCA is currently in operable and safe conditions for us to be able to use right now, currently?
Yes. The question was, is the Y operational today? Yes. The Y closed because it no longer had any money and it went into receivership. So it was totally, they just couldn't meet payroll. There were funders who sort of moved out. However, these funders have expressed a definite desire to come back to the table and be a partner with the Y when they heard that the city was being a partner with the Y. Yes.
Two-part question.
Yes.
And that's the second part is the funding component. The Y being a national organization, a nonprofit, correct? Have we reached out to them and their board members to see how interested they are in leveraging our contingency to help benefit our community?
Yes, the mayor has been in constant communication with the national director for the Y, and let me just assure you that the national Y wants to remain here in Orange.
I believe that's an outside sitting on the table.
And in addition to that, there was a representative from even the East Orange Y, MCA, has come forward and expressed interest in sort of assisting us in terms of that. Yes, in the back. No.
You know, you are saying, maybe for the punches. Now you saying that you're going to go to partnership with the Y. And who will actually own the property, the building itself? Will the city own it or will the Y own it?
And that's what I want to make sure is very clear. This is the Orange Recreational Center. The city of Orange is purchasing it. However, we recognize that in order for us to be successful, we need partners. There are some individuals who provide services that the city does not necessarily need to add on as a responsibility. The city is not in the business of providing child daycare, and nor should it. But there are baby services that are better at doing that. Working with an arts and craft nonprofit. If they have a better service, it's an opportunity to partner with them. But we'll lease space to them and provide them an opportunity to come in and lease from us those services. But this is an asset not about a new Y. This is an asset about a new Orange Recreational and Senior Services Center right here in the city of Orange Township. Yes, ma'am. Councilwoman Easton.
There's a little confusion. When the city purchases, just say for, that we do purchase the bar, it will no longer be a YWCA. It
No.
will be a new, so I think that's what you're doing.
Okay.
It will not be part of the national Y anymore.
No, it will not. And I just want to clarify what Councilwoman Easton said. If I was somehow confusing to some, I apologize. This is not a purchase for the Y. This is a purchase for the city, for the residents of Orange. If others can benefit and they fit within the scope of what our efforts is to serve the residents, we're willing to partner. I'm not closing the door on partnering with other people, but this is a purchase for the YWCA, a purchase of the property for the city of Orange Township. Yes, in the back.
Hi, can you explain if there's an issue when we have this building running, who is responsible? Is it going to be a board, or is it going to be the city council, or is it going to be the mayor? Who would be the board? Do you have like checks and balances, kind of thing to run that?
The question is, who's responsible, who's ultimately responsible for the operation of the building? Okay. Because it's an asset that's acquired, the person responsible for all assets in the city, whether it be for vehicles, whether it be for City Hall, whether it be for Orange Garage, whether it be for Central Park Playground, is the mayor. That falls under the executive branch of government. The mayor is responsible. And as such, the recreation department and that person responsible for the operation of its day-to-day will be the Orange Rec, which will ultimately feed back into the city's structure organization.
But that's what you said.
Well,
the mayor.
Yes.
Now, I know you have a city council. Will they be working hand in hand as a partner with the ownership? You understand what I'm saying? Not directly one person, the mayor, being responsible, but will the city council, because you know they do the legislative part, making the laws, the ordinances, and that. So they would definitely need to be partners in order to keep this functioning. And I'm not hearing that.
Okay.
And then to go back, since I have the mic,
Sure.
to go back to the part where you said, you said from the Y, of the Y, they shouldn't even be part of it once you make the purchase. They can come in and rent a lease, but I didn't get that from your statement because you said of and not from. So I'm not, make that perfectly clear to me.
Okay, I'll make it perfectly clear. The question that Mrs. Stewart asked, and I want to make it very clear to you, is that she wanted to make sure that this is a partnership.
I'd like to know if there's going to be monies in that.
Just a moment. Let me answer Mrs. Stewart's question, and then I'll come back to you if you just give me one moment. Okay, so the purchase of the Y is a partnership that requires the legislative branch of government and the executive branch of government. The executive branch of government, who's our head, is the mayor of the city of Orange Township, Mayor Dwayne Warren. The mayor, via his representative, me, has put a plan together to purchase the Y. But it requires the actions of the legislative body to appropriate funding as it does with everything throughout the city. There is a necessity that this relationship is intact. This evening's meeting is in part for the legislative body to hear from the residents what their interest is. Do they have an interest? Council members expressed to us about a week ago and says, what is the community saying about whether or not this is a good proposal or a bad proposal? So what you heard over the weekend was phone calls and email blasts that went out. And if you haven't signed the sheet up tonight with your email address and telephone number, please do so. Ms. Wooten has a sheet that she's preparing to go around to each one of you to make sure that you receive future communications going forward. But the day-to-day operations, much like the day-to-day operations that happen in City Hall, are under the direction of the mayor. But the appropriation and funding comes out of the legislative part of the body. We cannot do this without a partner in the city council. Yes. I'm going to stop to this Mr. Edwards first, and then I'm going to jump right back.
How many councilmen disagree with this program?
Tonight, it is our hope that they will go to vote tonight. It's on the agenda this evening. The question was, how many individuals agree on city council? I have spoken to several of them. Several of them have raised questions and concerns. They've, even expressed their earnest desire to be a partner in this effort, understanding the time restrictions that are at us today. If we don't move on this evening, we lose out on this opportunity. At present, I don't know all of those votes. That only will happen when they actually vote this evening. But it requires 4 votes for it to happen out of the 6 that are eligible to vote. Yes, there's that question right over there.
I thought you were
Billy.
Which one? Oh, I'm sorry. The mic's not on.
I'm not disrespecting the mayor, but I thought you was in charge of the dead.
Oh, Miss Nelson. Miss Nelson.
Just to kind of run back, my responsibilities only are held through the authority that the mayor gives me. So in terms of the mayor being the mayor, I still report to the mayor. If the mayor says he doesn't want it to go forward, it doesn't go forward. If the mayor tells me to put a plan forward, to do something for seniors, to do something for the community, that's who I work for. So I don't want to make it very clear, the mayor's in charge. I just do what the mayor asks me to do.
All right, next question.
Next question.
I would like to know if there's money in this package for transportation, because you need transportation there, and we need transportation bad now for shopping. We need the new buses, and we need them potholes closed up so that we can ride in peace, because it's only going to be a lot of money asked for later, because the drivers and some of the pensioners are gonna be suing because they're gonna be hurt.
Well, thank you very much.
I thought my back was hurt, but I laid it down in liniment and it went away. But them potholes is terrible. I shop every day for somebody, volunteer work out of City Hall. Been doing it for over 20 years. So I'm in that bus every day, and it's a bouncing in all those holes. I get off the bus, main and day, and I wait for it to come back. But now, on the other end, it's getting bad, so I don't know what kind of solution I'm gonna have for that.
All right.
But we need that.
Well, let me speak to the.
If there's money going in the package, for that, to take care of that, that's what we need now.
Well, I will tell you this. Let me be very clear in terms of the question, although it wasn't a specific issue relative to the Orange Rec, I just want to take this as an opportunity to address it. Several months ago, the mayor, about a year ago, the mayor put forth a city bond. The city bond was approved. As a city operates totally different from your own personal assets. When you have the money, you can just go out and purchase. We have purchasing laws that we have to adhere to in order to make any acquisitions. Well, I'm happy to report at this time, come July 1st, you will have new senior buses. licenses have been ordered. They're en route. The contract, it will be going out for bid within the next couple of weeks. We're hoping to we put some bid specs in the new contract. We want to make sure that these drivers are sharp. They look like they're coming to represent us, and they're doing so that fits the things that we have come to expect in Orange. Yes, in the back.
And I want to know, right, is the Spectre Center is for the seniors or it's for the young people?
It's for everyone.
This center,
It's for everyone.
this center is for everyone.
Yes.
Okay.
This center is for our seniors, this center is for our children, this center is for our families, this center is for our community. And just to your point about the potholes, we're addressing that. We got a new machine. We just got the licensing is coming back from the state. We can't put it out there until we receive our tags from the state. But as you're aware, every winter when rain gets underneath the concrete, it expands the concrete. It creates these holes in the street. And now that we have a new equipment and some new vehicles, we're just waiting on our license. And our public works has been, diligently out there trying to fill it up as quickly as possible. But as soon as we receive more of those, we'll be addressing those issues as it goes. One more question over here. Yes, sir.
Will this new facility be available for the kids on a daily basis, where they can come after school to be in an environment where it's safe?
The question was asked, will the facility be available on a continuous basis? In terms of the operational hours of the facility, those are some of the things that we're still trying to work out. Because right now, our employees work from 8:30 to 4:30. And in addition to them working from 8:30 to 4:30, many of them alter their schedules when we run Saturday programs or we run Sunday programs. In the past, by having partners who offer supplemental services, the facility will be able to continuously operate and provide them an opportunity to come in. Now, by having what we talked about was those different levels of membership, will provide them an opportunity to take advantage of services that we can sort of supplement those fees that would cost, so that there's no additional expense on taxpayers. So that a person, if they want to utilize it, let's just say for recreational activities, they want to come and shoot in the gym. There's a fee that allows them to say that the gym is open from X amount of time to X amount of time. And in doing so, that fee will pay for that particular additional personnel. This is not about adding new expenses. It's about being prudent on how we spend what we currently have.
Will there be any programs that is free?
Yes, we talked about those. Right now, we currently offer an investment of roughly $1.1 million. And from the sound of those questions, we are looking for volunteers to also work in those programs. And there are clarion calls, and I'll tell you, since the mayor launched this, I have gotten more responses than any other issue in the 2.5 years I've been with you about folks willing to step up to the plate and volunteer to make this a success. And we're going to have a sheet. The sheet is going around. Is Ms. Wooten, do you have that sheet going around? Yes, it is. Okay. Make sure you sign your name on there when you receive notification. There might be a particular skill set that you want to come in. You might want to say, I want to help run an arts and crafts class, or whatever that is. In the back right there.
Okay, so we've sat here, we've asked our questions, and you clearly said that you're not sure of the votes from council. When will we know?
Tonight. They vote tonight.
And we just sit here and wait for them to finish voting.
Yeah, I got two questions. This is an attack on the mayor. This is an attack on not the individual, but the person. If the mayor wanted to make decisions, rules, or whatever, do we have to go through the council, or can he do that on his own without going through them?
It depends on the rules. If it's about the facility and its operations, the mayor has the direction and control of all assets through his executive authority. In terms of appropriating funding, that's, quick civics lesson. Our legislative branch does the appropriation, the legislation, and the investigating and appropriate. So they have the authority to give the money. We can ask for the money, but they control the purse strings. And in my house, my wife's the boss.
And if a new mayor comes in, he would have the same situation before he can do anything, depending on what it is.
That's the mayor, that's the selection of the mayor.
Hi, my question relates to the structure of the rec center regarding the professional component. Yes, I understand you're asking people to volunteer, but there should be some sort of budget outlay to hire professionals that will be there to help and then be able to tell you what volunteers will be required. Because you're talking about educational, you're talking about swimming pools, you're talking about families entrusting their children to an environment after school for educational purposes. So what kind of outlines have you done to satisfy that?
The question was, what type of professionals do we currently have on staff to address the ongoing operational needs? And the thing that I want to kind of reiterate is that currently there's a professional staff, highly qualified professional staff currently in place. These individuals run day-to-day programs every day. They take care of our kids. They move over 2,000 kids sometimes in a month, whether it be from football programs to soccer programs. For the first time in Orange's history, the mayor, Warren, created a full-day summer day camp. And we had a full-day summer day camp without one incident. Without one incident. They have to have a background check. Everyone has to have a background check. If you want to come volunteer, you want to work with our children, the professionals that are on staff, many of them have been doing these jobs for a long period of time. And we were looking to make some modifications to address those issues. But for those individuals that are looking to come on in those areas that we're looking to expand in, we're going to continue to do our due diligence. We're going to continue to provide those services. We're never going to try to put our kids at harm's way.
No, I'm not saying you're not going to provide the services. I'm saying what kind of budget to hire salary people. Yes, I understand you have people who are already doing this that do jobs, but you also indicated that people work from 8:30 to 4:30. So given what you are trying to do and moving forward in the recreation center, that would be on the hours of 9 o'clock, 9:30 or whatever. So I am saying, what kind of financial outlays of dollars, money, have you allocated? Because people who work from 8:30 to 4:30 are not going to work until 9 o'clock at night. Let's be realistic. So that is the question that I'm putting forward to you.
The 8:30 to 4:30 time frame, when we talk about making a transition, the $1.1 million we're currently investing will be our time frame. In terms of what the programs can offer in its totality, when it's fully up and operational, will be something that will be a gradual process. I don't want to mislead anyone that we're going to have these programs in short order within a month. No, we have to make sure we have interest. We got to make sure that we have the right number of individuals who've signed up for them. If we're going to run a Zumba class, we got to make sure that we have at least 20 people registered for the Zumba class, so that we'll have the resources to hire these individuals to complement these services. That's an excellent point, but I wanted to make sure I clearly looked at it. And we have qualified professionals that volunteer the time. In terms of what that extension is, in terms of the Board of Education, there are a number of folks, and even when we talked about the full-day summer day camp program, in the morning time, we run this program. In the morning, it ran from 8:30 to 4:30 during the summer. In the morning, from 8:30 to 12, students, young people in the city of Orange, for the first time, we had double-digit numbers or reduction in every crime category across the board. Why? Because we doubled our efforts in recreation. By putting these young people in structured programs from 8:30 to 12, they had certified teachers giving them academic instruction. from 12:30 to 4:30, from 12:30 to 1:30, we provide, because we integrated our free lunch program. They had breakfast in the morning, free lunch in the afternoon, and then they got an opportunity to participate in after-school programs, midday programs, like they had an interest in soccer. They went to the soccer program. They had an interest in football. They signed up for the football, and so forth on, basketball. Now we'll be able to do that under one roof. Yes, in the back right there.
That was the Orange Recreation Department.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's what we're talking about doing, the expansion into the Orange Recreation Department.
I just have a question.
Sure.
What happens if the councilmen don't vote this up? Where do we go from there?
Then we'll be crying.
The question was, what would happen if the Orange Council does not vote? The City of Orange has put on notice, and I've shared this information, and it's not new information to council, and I applaud the council for having this meeting this evening. We received a letter from the receivership of the property, the attorney who's responsible for disposing the assets, and they've indicated to us that if we do not move forward with on this, that they will sell the property to another person. And as such, if that happens and we're not moving on this evening, then there's no option for the Y. The Y will be sold. The letter indicated to me, and my conversation with Mr. Jay LeBeckin, was that the property will go in negotiation and he will sign. He has, currently, he has an offer on the building, which is higher than what we are being offered to pay for the building. Their appraisal came in at $1,870,000. Our own tax assessor has appraised the building for $2.2 million. They're offering us for $1.5 million. If there is no action done on the building, he will be forced to take the high offer and sell the building, losing the opportunity for us to have a rec center in Orange.
Now, how much time do you have to present that to the people who said that?
I have until Wednesday.
Until Wednesday.
Wednesday.
See, one of my concerns is that we wait until the last minute before action is taken. Now, the community is here. You know, and I'm a senior, you know that we would like to have this rec center, not attached to the Y to it. But then the way you put it, if the council doesn't approve it, so then that's gonna leave that conflict between the council, maybe community, because we voted them here as our, support. So I guess my concern is I don't want it to go out that way. I want it to go where we're working together. Wherein there's enough information, enough time for the council to support. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna give you an example. I just came from funeralizing my husband. We had the repast at the rec community center, and this was in Florida. When I go down there, nothing but recreational center. So we do need it, but I don't want to go, with the confusion or the conflict between council and administration. Now, I'm here at the meeting, so I see action, and so I don't want to see any of that. I want the job taken care of, so we can get it and not blame one another for it. And then I'm gonna take one more saying, I'm a school advocate, public, and I know that they were here trying to get some part of this, but you haven't mentioned them too much. You mentioned in terms of the children, but they are still working, coming through our school. So that's a partnership that needs to be. So I want you to consider that. And I don't want any fighting and feuding with our administration and council. We got to work together to do this.
All right, I just want to clarify in terms of information and opportunity. This meeting, so let me just kind of backtrack for a moment. If you were purchasing a home, and if you were acquiring a home, under normal circumstances, you would have a longer opportunity to evaluate the home, look at the home, kind of go through the home, maybe shop around for other homes. This is a short sale. This is something where the receiver says, listen, you can take it or you can leave it. It's your choice. I'm not going to force the city to buy it. But it's also important for you to know that this presentation isn't the first time council will be hearing it tonight. A week ago I presented this. The council said they felt uncomfortable, rightfully so, to make sure that they gave an opportunity to hear from the community before they took any actions on this process, and to receive additional information, which I gave them. And this evening, we're ready, but they wanted to hear from you. So it's your opportunity to make sure your voice is heard.
I have another question.
Yes. Just one.
I have a question. How will this affect property taxes? How will it affect?
Okay, the question was, how will this affect property taxes? Let's talk about property value. So there are 565 municipalities in the state of New Jersey. Orange is ranked 560 out of 565. Not because of crime, but one of the key requirements is that they have a community service center that provides social activities for its residents. As such, this will increase our standing, thereby also playing a major impact on our property values in the most positive of ways. So this is a plus all the way around. Mr. Edwards?
Instead of buying the old building, has anybody thought about building a recreation center?
Yes. In terms of the option of looking at it, and that's a good question. He says, do we think about sort of buying or building a building as opposed to purchasing an existing building? Well, to purchase a building, if you look at your literature, the average cost to to build a building is roughly about 10 times the amount. It would be roughly $10 million for us to just build a building. The other question becomes, building where? There's no better place than on Main Street, which meets those individuals coming from the South Ward, the North Ward, the East Ward, and the West Ward. That's centrally located to access it. So we looked at that as an option. We even looked at it as an option of saying, if we sold the property, how much would we get in taxes? I said, if I put it back on the tax rolls, based on the numbers of the assessment on the property value, we would only receive roughly $98,000. Now, we need the money, but what we need more than that $98,000 is something for the money we currently are paying for. And this is our opportunity.
You're still going to have to spend money to renovate that, because it's not the way where it is not, that you just move right in and use it.
It's a turnkey right now. I can take you in the building right now. In 2012, did you see some of the photos now? Because I don't know when's the last time you've been there, but it's been
I've never
changed.
been inside there.
For all of us who were born and raised in Orange, this recreational facility is definitely needed. I mean, I was born in Orange, and I think we're the only town in America without a recreational facility. But I would like to know whether some of the concerns that the councilmen have to not vote this, because it seems like a no-brainer to me. So I just wanted to know whether some of the concerns the council or doubts that the council people have, because we don't know their doubts, and we just need to know what concerns they have.
I mean, come on.
Yes, just to reiterate, the concerns that some of the council members had, and I'll just, for all fairness disclosure, I spoke to several council members, and the questions that you see on the handouts that were provided were some of the questions that council members wanted just to provide for the opportunity. I don't want to speak for any of the council members. That's their opportunity to do that. We're going to give them that opportunity to do that. I just want to provide the most balanced and fair opportunity as possible. Right here.
Would there be any kind of medical staff or first aid thing going on site?
Right, so it's interesting that you mentioned that. In the pre-planning aspects of this, we're being positively optimistic as possible about this. We've had preliminary discussions with St. Barnabas Healthcare System. East Orange General has also approached us, and other private individuals have also approached us. Matter of fact, the Dr. Juanita was here earlier, just this evening, who talked about possibly opening an office so that they can provide services right here at the facility. So yes, there is a medical component that we're looking at. Yes, Dewar?
I would like for you to not dodge that question Ms. Jan asked, because I think that that's really important.
What's the question you'd not like me to answer?
The question is, what are the negatives? Why would this not happen? What kind of financial impact negatively would this have in our community for this to not happen? It seems like a no-brainer for community members. We all need this. We all want this. But what are the negatives? What are the negative implications of this happening? What are we not hearing?
The big question that you're not hearing in terms of what the major concern that has been, as the #1 chief concern from council members to me, was how are we going to finance it? I think now that they've been provided that opportunity to hear that we're leveraging existing funds. We're going to look at those resources that we have up at the reservoir. We're exploring options. We have a 20-year lease. I've been in preliminary discussions with the county executive and talked about maybe possibly extending that lease for another 10 years. Seeing if they can give us more money or giving us advance payments so we can get that money early. We still have a big benefit for the reservoir. Right now, the reservoir is a wonderful place. We have a beautiful senior picnic up there, facilities. We receive roughly 50% discount on a number of items that we provide. We get the services for free. So in terms of what the negative was, I think that was their biggest concern. That and the time, the unfortunateness about the time, the receiving the information.
I'm still not.
Okay. One of the things that you just said was the reservoir money. Just looking at the budget my own self, I would like to know, is that money from the reservoir in escrow that we're sitting around and it's ready to be taken?
Yes.
Because my whole thing is, if it's sitting in escrow, that's a great opportunity for us to pull the interest off the escrow and all of that money. Because if this money is being filtered through our own finances right now, how are we going to pull it out?
Okay, the question was, where is a portion of the money now? So prior to you coming, I kind of explained it. So just in a short, it was a 20-year lease. The first 10 years of the lease was for $750,000, $75,000 per year. We received a check for $750,000. We have that. We've spent $75,000 since 2012, leaving us a total amount of $450,000 currently in a reserve account. Plus, the YWCA owes us approximately $65,000, bringing the total to $515,000. In addition to that, there's an $850,000 payment that's due in year 11. We can borrow against that anticipated amount and use that at a low interest bearing. Bond counsel has advised us that we can go out for notes where there's basically I think it was a $40,000, bond counsel is somewhere here. It's roughly a $40,000, and we've also spoken to our financial auditors, and they said that the impact would be negligible in terms of what that financial aspect would be, making that transformation.
Before you ask another question, we're probably going to be wrapping this up because we have another meeting at 7 o'clock. So we're going to have a couple of more questions, and then we're going to have to close it out because the council still has to have a meeting to decide if this is going to move forward. But I just want to clarify one thing. For me, I was elected to represent all of the residents of Orange, in the North Ward especially, taxpayers and non-taxpayers. The meeting tonight, we had a presentation last Tuesday night at our council meeting. The meeting tonight, as you know, it's been on the blog, it's been on the website.
they did a blast today to all residents, was to have all of you come out. Taxpayers, non-taxpayers, so we could get a feel for how you feel about us leasing the Y. So tonight was an opportunity for us to hear from you. We cannot vote in a vacuum without representing your interests, your wants, the services you want us to provide for you. So that's why we're having this meeting, so you can tell us what you really want us to do. I mean, taxpayers, can be so in any project that we undertake, there's always going to be some plus and minuses, some pros and some cons. But what we're hearing tonight is that the pros outweigh the cons. But it was an opportunity for us to hear from everybody. If you're a resident in the city, you had a concern, we needed to know that. So that's why we're having this meeting tonight. And I know it's getting very hot in here. Some people are fanning. So we're going to wrap this up in probably another 5-10 minutes. So we're going to take at least a couple more questions, and then we're going to wrap it up. Yes, sir.
I just got one more question. Is there, a yes or no would be good. The seniors going to have to come out of their pockets to pay for any of this? How much? What?
One of the questions I think the council was, and I know one of our council members was saying, sustainability. How do we sustain this while it's being leased? How do we make it profitable for the city of Orange? How do we recoup the money that we'll invest in? So as you know, in all the programs in East Orange, there is a fee for certain things that you do. There's nothing free in this world, nothing free. So everybody has to do their part, contribute their part, and hopefully with the administration, you can work out those issues so it's minimal. So that's where we are right now.
But are you aware, we as senior citizens live at 300, we have no security. We have no security.
We need the Y. Vote yes.
We need a Y, of course, we need security, because we cannot live there. We still
That is a question for another session.
Mr. Lurch, you can actually sit over in the corner, sir. Ready? You ready, Matt? This is a special meeting to hold a budget hearing and other business of the City Council. Councilman Corbett.
Right back. Excuse me. Now we're done.
I know. I'm sorry, we lost our quorum. It'll be just a second.